Now, there's always plenty going on when it comes to national security, and joining me, as he does each week, my dad, Senator and former Major General Jim Molan. Dad, great to see you in person.
Yes, in person.
And thank you for hosting me at your place this week and helping look after my 4-year-old Terror. I appreciate it. Anthony Albanese is on his way to Europe at the moment to meet with NATO leaders. Included in that, he'll make a special trip to France to try to repair the relationship post-submarine gate, as they call it. But talk that he's looking to fill the submarine gap, which he feels is the biggest defence issue facing this country, potentially by getting the French to maybe do something again.
There's so much speculation around the place, Erin. I'm not too sure who is doing what to who with what at this stage of the game. But certainly one of the big issues, not the biggest issue by any stretch of the imagination, one of the big issues is submarines. But even bigger than that, I'd say, is the fact that he is going to a NATO meeting in Spain. Now, that's tremendous. It's exactly what he should do, because we have not invested in enough defence materiel or capability to defend ourselves. Therefore, we've got to go for treaties. Our first line of defence has for a long time, and will for a long time going into the future, be diplomacy and treaties. He will meet with President Macron. As we've been saying, after Richard Marles met with the Defence Minister in China, this is not going to be an earth-shattering moment. And people are actually talking about the fact that we might go to the French and get them to build submarines for us. I heard a lot of discussion. God help us, the last thing we need is 3 parallel submarine programs. The nuke submarine in 20 or 30 years, the Collins-class submarine now, and some new submarine to fill the gap in. But this goes back to the basic point of where we make mistakes time and time again. We say to ourselves, we've had submarines, therefore we've got to get new submarines. I'm prepared to accept that for the nuclear submarine. But time and space and availability means that we don't need to fill what's called the submarine gap with submarines. What submarines do is they sink ships, they block straits, they insert special forces, they do intelligence work. All of that can be done to a greater or lesser degree by aircraft. Evolve.
Now, the Chinese ambassador to Australia made a rare public appearance in Sydney this week. Now, he said this.
Looking into the future, China-Australia relations enjoy great potential for cooperation and bright prospects. That's the message that I brought with me from China.
Is this a genuine olive branch?
We'd be fools to think that it was a genuine olive branch. We cannot, after the experience we've had with the new China under President Xi since about 2012, we can't take anything that China says as being correct. And when you look at the authoritarian countries, Russia, China, North Korea and Iran, their default position is to lie. When things occur, they lie about them immediately, then try and figure out what's going on. It's quite bizarre. But we've had this situation where we've got to talk and talk as much as we possibly can to the Chinese. But the Chinese technique is that they create a crisis, as China has done here. They then raise the heat on that crisis as far as they can. Then magnanimously they say, why don't we compromise? Australia, you compromise here and let's see where we go. So from nothing, from a situation that was not our fault, we give up things. So the government seems to be taking a hard line. I absolutely congratulate them on taking a hard line on this. Don't see what they do, not what they say.
You ask any psychologist, that is textbook bullying. It's like an abusive relationship. It's not just us talking about it. Mike POMPEO, the former US Secretary of State, has come out so hard on China recently. He's talking about the fact that the US government should immediately confer diplomatic recognition of Taiwan. He says otherwise, if China occupies Taiwan, it will be a huge threat to Japan, Hawaii and Australia.
Well, we can break that down into two areas. His statement. If they occupy Taiwan, they're a threat to other nations around them. Absolutely, they're a threat to other nations around them now. It may not be a case of them occupying Taiwan. They may do other things, other military type things, which doesn't require them to occupy Taiwan, but which forces Taiwan to rejoin the People's Republic of China. And as you're aware, I've written a book on this, which will hit the bookshops in about the 3rd of August.
What's it called?
It's called
Danger on our doorstep. Yes.
It's called Danger on Our Doorstep. And we'll start publicising that in the immediate future. But to confer diplomatic recognition, as Mike Pompeo is saying now, he is speaking quietly. People will go ballistic over this and say he's mouthing off too much. This is the I'm speaking quietly part of the speak quietly and carry the big stick. The Americans have got to make sure that they've got a big stick because we don't have one.
Absolutely. Just quickly, speaking of sticks and flagpoles, what did you make quickly of Adam Brandt this week?
Oh, I thought it was appalling, but it's exactly what I would expect from the Greens. We've seen the Greens do this time and time again, and it's not just the veteran community that is angry about this. It's Australians. 80% of Australians don't want to change the flag. Adam should be listening to this. And every time he stands up now at a presser, he's going to find people are concentrating on where the bloody flag is not what he's saying.
I don't know how many were concentrating on what he said prior to this, but anyway, Dad, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, and I'll heat up my dinner. I'll see you later. Thanks so much.